Mahiya naman kayo sa inyong kapwa Pilipino.
Binastos pa nila ako.
What is the law and what
Pakinggan ng proceeds of the illegal drug trade ng Duterte.
The law enforcement, the highest law enforcement official being head of PNP. Yeah. Now you're hiding this scoundrel, this fugitive.
Hello po sa inyo lahat. Maraming salamat po sa walang sawang support. And again, nandito po tayo again to live. This is a recorded podcast together with one of our friends in our social media community at napagbigyan niya po tayo ng isang pagkakataon po to share her thoughts about dito po sa day 1 of the ICC approval or confirmation of, if I'm not mistaken, confirmation po ng testimony nito ni former President Duterte dito sa ICC. Confirmation of evidence para magkaroon ng trial. So, today po, makakasama po natin isa sa mga kaibigan nating vlogger. She's from United States and also one of the people that I trust with her political and social opinions. And please welcome po. Today, we have an opportunity. Please welcome Meeks Talks.
Okay, good afternoon, good evening, good morning.
Hello! You can also use your phone to scan the QR code. Nandiyan po sa upper portion ng ating screen para po ma-follow nyo po kami. And also while you're watching, para mas updated kayo sa ating show, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe ang ating YouTube channel. And also, if you don't mind, Mix, if you can introduce yourself sa ating mga
Oh, my name is Mix Talks. I'm also a vlogger like Philcast, and I also have my channel, which is Mix Talks. I do my live streaming every Saturday, Philippine time. That's 11:45 a.m. and U.S. time it is 7:45 p.m. That's just once a week. Okay.
Yes. Yun ang nakaka-miss kay Ma'am Mix no? Kasi ang sarap nung kwentuhan sa kanya minsan, kahit na it's already 2 a.m. on my time, gusto ko pa rin makinig kung hindi lang ako may pasok sometimes. Going towards our question and answer portion. I guess a lot of people have this thinking na parang kailangan nating pag-usapan itong issue dito sa day 1 of the ICC session about dito sa confirmation of evidences, if I'm not mistaken, na pag-uusapan dito. And there's a lot of testimonies, the defense lawyers and also doon sa mga prosecutors. And I think meron ding may testimony din yung direct lawyers ng mga EJK victims kasi tatlong partido to sa ICC. So today we're gonna focus more on the side of the defense lawyer ni Attorney Kaufman, which is the lead lawyer ni former President Duterte. And I think if you guys have heard, ang haba ng testimony, I think less than 45 minutes. Sa haba nun, ngayon pag-uusapan natin, and we will give reactions for it. I think I put it in such a way na masusundan natin. Kasi pinakinggan ko po siya ng 3 times dahil hindi naman tayo lawyer, and I try to understand that kinuha ko lang yung mga key features na pwede nating, as non-lawyers, pwede natin mapag-usapan. So, first up, I think in a general perspective po, Ma'am Mix, what do you think about the whole testimony of the defense on, Attorney Kaufman?
Well, it is expected too much from Attorney Kaufman. Okay, because his experience as international lawyer he has experience also defending somebody who's been accused from the international court. But I think, I don't know, something happened to that. I think he just stopped or he abandoned or something like that. But at least he's got the experience. And the law firm that he represented also worked closely with the defendants, mostly
Mhm.
from the ICC. So he's got experience. Now, with his opening statement, I was really very frustrated. Maybe we would know why, Instead of making a statement because this is a confirmation of charges, right? So instead of just making an introduction, so his introduction swayed to being political. And that's what I had. I mean, I question myself, why is he doing that? What is he trying to say to the public? Is he again trying to picture out that all of this was because of the Marcos administration? All of this is happening right now because the president of the Republic of the Philippines cooperated with the Interpol. So instead of getting into maybe making a statement or telling the Filipino people why his client should not be charged or should not be accused or formally charged with
Mhm.
a crime against humanity, he indulged into something, you know, well, I may be biased, but he indulged into something political in nature. President Marcos shouldn't be mentioned on that introduction, but I don't know why he did that. Catching attention? No, no, he shouldn't.
Yeah, and I think ma-mix yung totality of the statement was all about appealing to emotions. Eh.
Yeah,
When you try to read doon, he did not even said na may ginawa si Duterte. He only said that people are politicizing him or overacting about to sa mga pictures, and he even says na maganda lang daw yung editing, yung lighting of the victims, pero sa totoo lang hindi naman yun yung totoo and wala namang direct link. I guess I wanted to focus on that first, no? Yung evidence versus narrative angle na nakita ko doon sa testimony. One is, ang gusto ko po malaman, sa inyo pong palagay, ang isa po bang leader ng isang bansa na nililitis sa ICC ngayon, kailangan ba magsimula tayong tumingin ah, sa ebidensya patungkol sa isang personality ng leader na yon, lifestyle ng leader na yon, o yung popularity kapag binibase natin yung criminal responsibility nung leader na yon?
okay. Very good. That's a very good question because I read that all over and over again from different political analysts, from different lawyers, international lawyers, no? And I just and it says there, majority of them are saying that as or emotional, they call it emotional statements or something like making they use the word rhetorics, Philcast, I'm sorry. Making rhetorics just like what the DDS ordinary bloggers has been vlogging. That's how Kaufman started his statement. That's how Kaufman was able to impart his statement to the people instead of leveling up because he's a lawyer, international lawyer at that. He's just using the ordinary vlogger's statement, ordinary vlogger's contents. So it is really very frustrating. And it is said that in international court, you cannot use emotions. You cannot use
Mhm.
popularity. You cannot use how good he was when he was a president. You cannot use that as your defense. You have to stick to the issue and also, just like what you said, the linkage between the statement, the word, and what was happening. So that was really the very important in the international court.
And also, mix, isa din po sa sinabi ni Kaufman dito sa testimony niya. And I wanted to ask you also po, no? Po bang phenomenal, sabihin na natin sa over-exaggerated word, phenomenal victory ni dating Pangulong Duterte at yung cult-like public support of former President Duterte, does it shield him against for crimes against humanity?
Hell no. No. Okay. So where is the popularity right now? Where is
Mhm.
that cult like admiration to the kind of administrative management that he did when he was the president? No.
Mhm.
Masyado
Mhm.
pa akong leaning pang partisan. Kasi, I can't help it. Because that was That was what is happening during those nung day one.
Mhm.
Hindi ko hindi ko maihiwalay yung sarili ko because if I'm going to attack on uh the the way Attorney Kaufman handled the situation, it was really very poorly manifested. Siguro talaga because mataas talaga ang expectation ko. Maybe because that's why it went like down when I heard him saying about popularity, saying about the magnanimous victory, saying about the people loves him so much, kaya siguro dun ako na dun ako na, so why would that affect the case? Maybe, he thought it would affect the case. Sad to say, those natawag lang nila yung rhetorics because those won't affect the case na ngayon hinaharap ng former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte sa ICC.
Yes, and nakikita natin dito that on his statement as a defense lawyer, makikita natin there is no appeal to the legal prospect of the case. It's mostly appeal to the emotion of the judges who's actually hearing this to be confirmed. And I guess another thing that actually amazed me, and a lot of Filipino people probably was thinking about this nung pinakinggan yung statement ni Attorney Kaufman, is that ang sinasabi niya dito, isa sa mga defense frame niya was everything was politically motivated kasi halos lahat daw, even social media, mainstream media, or the current government was against him. Inyo pong palagay, if this is a politically motivated against the Duterte or former president, how do you think we can separate a legal political context versus avoiding legal accountability?
So remove that thinking that it was politically motivated surrender ni former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte sa The Hague. That's all about. It's all about. You know? So
Mhm.
kasi hindi mo kasi, okay, so it's like this. When ang kanilang defense, politically motivated, for what? This case has been in the hands of ICC since way back 2011 when they started doing their preliminary examination of case. So how would that be a politically motivated for surrendering Rodrigo Duterte to The Hague when in fact it was already there?
Yeah, and also, hindi mo rin pwedeng sabing kidnap kasi there is a legal and official warrant of arrest na isinerve ni dating Chief PNP, I forgot his name, yung dating
Nicholas
Chief
Torre.
PNP, Nicolas Torre. 'Di ba hindi naman siya literal na dinukot eh. Actually, everyone has put it on live nung nangyayari yon. So, it is not yun nga din eh, ang ganda nga ng usapan natin and guys, sa mga nakikinig, that's how we understand tong statement eh. And even us, we're not lawyers, we can say a lot of reaction kasi hindi totoo eh. Hindi totoo yung framing nung narrative eh. And another claim, isang angle na claim niya doon sa statement niya is about yung leadership rhetoric at saka yung narrative daw ni Pangulong Presidente because ang sinasabi niya, kung may 10 ibabato ang prosecutor sa mga nasabi ni Duterte, 20 na statement or video na sinabi ni Duterte, may 10 daw doon na ipinapakita yung totoong konteksto. Like for instance, yung mga drug pusher, pero ang punto niya 'pag nanlaban daw. Parang ganyan yung paliwanag niya. Going to this narrative, talking points ng ating dating Pangulo, alam naman natin everything is on video. My next question to you is this, kailangan ba na tignan natin or tignan ng korte, presidential statement based on intention or yung totoong nangyari on the ground?
Of course, we just have we just have to watch the real thing.
Mhm.
Ito nga ang nangyari I don't know if somebody told you na sabi ni na Attorney Kaufman
Mhm.
Duterte is a man of words. And Marcos is like a wind or something. Noon pa lang inamin na niya that whatever Duterte says, and it was proven, may linkage. Yun ang importante dito, alam mo ba? And then may link doon sa sinabi ni Duterte. And pero
Mhm.
kaya nga, tapos sasabihin pa nila, oh, he's a man of words. Yeah, of course. When he says KIL, KIL, there he goes. When he says,
Totoo, Ma'am Mix. Actually, yung susunod kong tanong sa inyo na naunahan niyo lang ako, eh. Actually, yung susunod kong tanong sa inyo is, dahil paulit-ulit yung statement na violence from president, do you think it actually create an environment of violence on the ground?
yes, yes,
Mhm.
it
And why
created
do you think so po?
actually. Ang nangyari lang kasi, during the time of Duterte, so dun niya pinapa-focus yung atensyon ng tao. That's where he went wrong. While
Mhm.
doing something on his back, niya, so war on drugs. So, kita mo naman, BBC, Al Jazeera, international companies just went to the Philippines and tried to get footages. Kasi, kasi at that time, since wala na naman tayo dun sa Pilipinas, pero we can see yung mga pictures ng nga ako dyan eh, na copyright ako sa BBC, sorry. I like kasi yung pictures nila is actual,
Mhm.
no? Actual. So, yun ang, I mean, and I wanted that to really, to let the people know na ganun ang nangyari. Kasi, syempre, if you're, okay, baka next question na yun. But anyway, so ganun ang, oo, ganun, ganun ang nangyayari. So, whatever he says, there's a link that would parang pagpapatuo sa kanyang
Yes, and also, Ma'am Mix, isa pa sa pinunto dito ni Kaufman that, hindi naman parang sabihin na nating tanga ang, pulisya o militar para sundin lang kung ano yung sinasabi ni Duterte. Like, pagpatayin mo ang drug addict, 'pag nakita mo, patayin mo. Parang ang punto niya dito, hindi naman gano'n ang konteksto nun. I think because of this statement, my next question to you is, ang Pangulo ay may kontrol sa security natin sa ating bansa, like he handles PNP, Armed Forces of the Philippines. Can it be totaled as to be harmless kung ang anggulo natin dito is hindi naman sunod-sunuran lang ang pulis at militar sa presidente even if the rhetoric is violent. Meron pa rin silang kakayanan to decide on what they want to do. So do you think that the violent rhetoric ng isang presidente can be described as harmless by the people who's doing it, yung PNP and the AFP?
It's not just harmless. Whatever the rhetoric they say, that rhetoric or that command, I would say, has a price on it. Kung ikaw ba naman ang
Mhm.
police, that's why may mga chismis pa nga that, chismis ang sinabi ko ha, they just KIL because just to, get the quota.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yun
Kota.
ang, yeah. Kaya kung sa ano yung sinabi ng harmless ba yun sa mga police?
Mhm.
It has a price, you know? And that time kasi, ang political climate kasi sa Pilipinas was all hubris talaga. Puro yabang talaga. So, syempre, kung ano kang leader na you have that kind of air, you have that kind of yabang, syempre, and so was with your followers. And it proves na
Mhm.
ganun ang nangyayari. Yun nga, kaya nga ngayon, they were asking why is it that he doesn't want to face his victims. Of course, isa lang naman yan, guilt. Of course, I'm still in power. Of course, these and that,
they are only trying to appeal to emotions, that to a point pati yung health situation na disapprove na siya ng mga health expert, they're still trying to convey that the president cannot even make a stand. Pero
Thing was, nahuli pa siya
mm,
checking on his health, nahuli pa siya nagsisinungaling. Just a simple hand test. Alam niya, he can get away with it. Hindi niya alam na that hand and coin test has been tested even to the yung worst situation na sa isang tao na, nakakalimot na always merong mapapasa at merong makukuhang tamang sagot. Pero siya, nagtataka sila. So, tingnan mo, ultimo pag-test sa health niya, hand coin test, nagsisinungaling pa. An expert talaga. So it is funny. I mean, at saka alam mo, ito naman yung yung sa side na sa mga Dutertes. Kasi they really mock down ICC. Ngayon nga, may marami siyang ginagawang intriga about ICC na has been paid, this and that, okay? Those are bullshit. And then the other lawyers too, defense lawyers were telling that, have you seen na siyang gumagawa? Trying to distort the mind of the Filipino people, trying to distort the minds. Yung mananiniwala, there's nobody above the law. Di ba? Tapos,
topo.
Ngayon, yun, frail, 80 years old, lapsed twice. Yung mga gano'n na nila ngayon, and so loved by the people, nakita nyo, no? But then, pag may
I think dito po natin makikita yung impartiality ng ICC.
yeah,
Yung tumitingin, they don't even know kung totoo yun o hindi unless ipakita natin evidence kasi hindi sila nakatira sa Philippines. And I think this is a good part of us, even non-lawyers, would see na dito natin makikita na magkakaroon ng justice kung sino man ang party na mananalo dito sa trial na to. It's either 'di ba, President Duterte or the EJK victims kasi there is no bias on the judges itself.
and also, they don't care whether you're popular, whether you are whatever. The important thing sa ICC is, matipensahan mo the crime that was accused on you. Talaga sila nagfo-focus. And, yun naman ang ginagawa nila. Kaya nga, yung marami, oh my gosh, I don't know, there's a lot of, maski na nga yung Congress na gumawa ng resolution about how to, so that these cases daw hindi na mangyari, pagkikidnap, there's a lot of, kaya nga, I would like to borrow Senator Lawrence phrase doon sa sinabi
Mm.
mag-aral kayo na nga hindi lawyer. We understand why the former president is in The Hague right now answering this crime against humanity. Out questioning na jurisdiction, kidnapping, and whatnot. Sila pong sa bagay, sila lawyers, ba't nila pinapaikot-ikot? Why don't they respect the treaty? Why don't they respect the Supreme Court in the Philippines who had a decision regarding international ICC cases? Now we have to cooperate. It's in our constitution too. So, ganun talaga siguro pag lawyer, pinapaikot mo lang just to get away with
Kaya nga
pero
po may, naalala niyo po yung pinag-usapan natin before lawyering? Gumagamit siya in a positive or negative way depending on who listen and who parang
yeah,
parang who listen to it and explain
nagkainit
what it means. And
nagkainit
then
ang-
oo nga And then also going further, there's another issue na gusto ko po malaman yung reaction nyo. This is about yung kaninang tinanong ko po sa inyo. It's about the intent of President Duterte. Dahil merong competing evidence There's one portion they were saying that the statements made by the president was out of context and hindi mo siya pwedeng malink sa mga totoong nangyari. noong panahon ng administrasyon niya on war on drugs. And then the prosecutor were saying is because of him coming from Davao as the mayor na may DDS na, nadala niya yung DDS game plan na nung naging presidente siya. I think my first question to you about the intent, dapat ba or ba, and we're not lawyer, we're just giving our opinion,
Yeah.
na dapat nating gamitin yung mga favorable speeches versus controversial speeches sa sa ano yung personal intent ni Pangulong Duterte nung kanyang administrasyon.
Okay. So during his campaign, the former president Rodrigo Duterte, during his campaign, what's this? Yung kanyang banner is war on drugs first, and then corruption second. Okay? So, he stood by it. Na yun ang kanyang campaign banner. Ngayon, during his term, so he has to do that, the war on drugs. Why? First, not why, but first, he created an image that Philippines at that time was almost like a narco country. Yun ang una niyang ginawang image. Ganun na siya nung nasa Davao pa lang siya. Nung nasa president na siya, dala-dala din niya yung hubris na yan, and proud siya na ginawa niya ang Davao na peaceful because of what he did. Okay? So when he became the president, same process, same kung ganun pa rin. Meron, inamin na nga ni Attorney Kaufman, Duterte is a man of words. So how can you debunk that? That's true, very true.
And I remember po even President Obama said na he used colorful words.
Words. Yeah.
Diba? I remember those times.
If ang sabi nga niya, yung hindi daw problema yung bunga. Yeah, he said this, bunga nga, hindi daw. But anywhere he goes, even if meron siyang EU, anong ginawa niya sa EU? As EU. Is European countries, Americas, and ano pa yung mga pinagsasabi niya. Why? Because these countries, UK and Americas, they've been asking him at that time, regarding yung kanyang war on drugs, regarding yung mga killings which is against humanity. And they said, kahit na 2 or 3 lang ang merong magwi-witness ka dyan sa ICC, pag may sistema yon at nagli-link yung kanyang words doon sa mga nangyayari, consider yan na yung case mo ay, ma-confirm. But this is not yet the, hindi wala pang trial ito. Pre-trial pa lang ito. Ito pa
yes,
lang.
and confirming evidence if there is like sabihin na nating bigat para ituloy siya to become a trial, ika nga. Yeah. And another thing that Attorney Kopman says on his testimony is about the issue sa international jurisdiction ng ICC. Ang yun ang ini-issue nila eh. Ano yung jurisdiction? And we all know, nasagot na yan ng ICC na meron silang jurisdiction specifically from the years that the EJK victims was inferring to doon sa complaint nila sa ICC, which is mula nung naging mayor siya and first 2 years of President Duterte's presidency. I think my main question po sa inyo, dahil napag-usapan nitong about sa jurisdiction ng ICC, do you think that the issue of the Dutertes against the jurisdiction of ICC was really an intention about the jurisdiction per se ng ICC sa Pilipinas o yung resistance ng Duterte administration sa international oversight ng ICC noong panahon ng drug war?
Okay, how would I start? Kasi diyan nagkamali si Duterte. Diyan siya nagkamali talaga. He thought na pag if he will withdraw yung membership ng ICC, Philippines would withdraw. He thought yung jurisdiction, whatever it is, once he withdrew from the ICC, yung makialam ang ICC sa Philippines. Diyan siya nagkamali. And I do not know why Peter Cayetano and Teddy Boy Locsin didn't even inform him na maski na mag-withdraw ka sa ICC, they will still get your head if preliminary examination prior to your withdrawal from ICC started. Kahit sabihin nila the full-blown examination happened after we withdrew from ICC. No, of course not. It started 2011, 2012.
Yes.
That's why and also, of course, lawyer yan. May treaty tayo dyan, di ba? Tapos nakalagay pa dun sa treaty, and that treaty he was not even the president at the time. It was Gloria Macapagal Arroyo na nakalagay doon sa Rome Statute na, CC still has, yung meron pa siyang, pag kahit lumabas na tayo dyan sa ICC, pa siyang karapatan, no? Mag-investigate with regards to crime against humanity, side, and yung isa. These are big crimes. These are not just crimes na murder, frustrated murder. These are high-end crimes. Okay? Sabi na nga nung isang abogado na, okay, gusto niyong sa Pilipinas yung kanyang kaso, hindi naman sa pag-ano ng mga lawyers, ma-experience ba itong mga lawyers natin to handle high-end crimes? Wala. Tapos, would you think kung may decision na favorable kay Duterte, hindi mag-alma yung iba? Would you think pag paboran naman itong mga victims, hindi rin mag-aalma yung mga... Of course not, di ba? So, ICC talaga is the best and appropriate court na dapat will conduct the hearing of this crime against humanity. So, kahit na anong sabihin nila, kine-question nila yung jurisdiction. Yes. Ang sabi nga ng the confirmation of charges, before confirmation of charges, they have to determine really, and they have to check all angles if they have jurisdiction over the case. Yun eh. If they found out that, wala pa we don't have jurisdiction. We have to, we have to release this Rodrigo Duterte. But no. So it's obvious. Now, when they check everything, every angle, they have jurisdiction over the case. That's why they had Rodrigo Duterte there.
Correct. And I think ang nagiging problema kasi, especially from the cultist-like followers, is that they don't care whatever their law is. They only care na si Tatay Digong nasa Netherlands at hindi nakapagpasko at hindi niya nakita yung mga apo niya. Not knowing, and not knowing about yung mga namatayan noong EJK na panghabang buhay dadali nila sa antungan yung nangyari sa pamilya nila nung namatay yung panahon ng drug war. And moving further dito sa pinag-uusapan natin, guys, sa mga nakikinig, salamat po sa walang sawang support. For you to follow us, don't forget po, you can scan the QR code dito po sa taas ng ating screen. You can follow us and subscribe sa ating iba pang social media platform. And also, para ma-follow nyo po yung ating mga live podcast in the future, i-click nyo lang po yung like and share dito sa ating video. Moving forward po doon sa pinag-uusapan natin dito, another angle na sinabi ni Attorney Kaufman is about the command responsibility. I think my question po, what do you think about this? And this is, as I said, we're non-lawyers here, we're just talking about this. Inyo pong palagay, dapat ba tignan ng korte yung statement that defies direct to kill etong mga drug users? Or kailangan ba tignan ng korte yung responsibilidad galing sa polisiya at outcomes nung mga statement na sinabi niya. Ito yung parang, kini-claim nila ni attorney na wala namang mapo-prove na sinabi niyang patayin si A o si B, so C. So are you talking about yung sinabi niyang over-exaggerated o yung mga polisiya? Parang dun niya po binabase yung dalawang anggulo nung statement niya.
I don't know why they have to keep on what is this? Why do they have to keep on denying the fact that the prosecution already made it in public? They got all those pictures. It's systemic. It has a policy. It has a system. And nobody ever did that except the president himself, the former president.
Mhm.
Ang ano ko talaga feel kasi dito because they don't have any other argument regarding the case. So they have to go into other factors like politically motivated, what
Ma-mix ano, they're trying to frame it as kung sino yung nagbabatikos sa kanya and try to use it as an adjective doon sa messenger, not what the messenger is saying doon kay Duterte. Kumbaga ikaw, may sinabi ka kay Duterte, bakit ikaw malinis ba kamay mo? Wala ka ba sinabing masama sa akin? Parang gano'n yung framing eh. Nakakatuwa, para bang ang lumalagay may namatay, tas hindi pa natin sure kung namatay. Baka nagtatago lang. Parang gano'n yung parang gano'n yung nangyari sa korte.
hindi nga kasi nga alam mo basta
Hmm,
overall na lang na tinitingnan ko kahit saan sila kahit anggulo na lang sila kumukuha so that there's something for them to put on the table. Kasi they cannot get head on with the prosecutors.
mhm,
The prosecutors, okay, if I may say it, with this hearing, day 1 and day 2, the prosecutor,
mhm.
the victims, the lawyers like Attorney Butuyan, they are well prepared and well organized. Okay? So from what I've read from one friend, I told you, Jerry Canindin. I don't know, was it Jerry Canindin or Morning Coffee? But anyway, he said in day one, the one that we're talking about, prosecutor framing the legal battlefield. Yun ang kanilang, 'di ba? Kung yung kanilang mga test, mga and yung the way they yung of
Mhm.
order of their yung statements nila parang in order si Butuyan ito yung sinasabi kino-continue yung isa kino-continue you know tapos organized talaga. Ngayon ng day 2 and what they did is they methodically laying out the architecture of the case. So yon, piece by piece talagang when they say something, there's a video, speech by speech with Rodrigo Duterte, there's a video, body by body, yung mga sinasabi nila, there's a video. Okay? So with that, what else can you ask for? The Duterte, the defense again, Kufman again, will go something into, yun nga, may sinasabi naman siya after nung sinabing KIL, meron daw kasunod na sinasabi. Doesn't matter anymore. Because whatever he said, my link, whatever Duterte said, nandun yung link, nandun yung proof. And that's what the defense, the prosecutors has been doing.
Parang sinasabi, parang ang pinupunto kasi is parang, there is a context doon sa first statement. Kaya kailangan panoorin natin yung whole video. The only problem is, kung presidente kasi ang issue eh, ang dami niya kasing sinabi na kahit ilagay mo yung context before after yung statement na controversial, meron na naman susunod na statement siya na solidify yung first statement. 'Di ba parang mapapaisip ka ng gano'n, eh. Ito pa, isa pa sa sinabi ni Attorney Kaufman po na sabi niya, kritiko niya, civic group, human right activist, media, NGO, lahat yan puro bias, eh. Ba't ka maniniwala diyan? Eh, lahat yan against kay Duterte. My question to you is this, fi-frame sa mga kritiko ng dating Pangulo, na sabihin nating mga bias actor, ito nangangahulugang or puwedeng mangahulugan sa ibang tao that they are dismissing yung legitimate human rights violation nung panahon ng drug war.
No, are you saying that that's what Kaufman is?
Yes, sinasabi niya po kasi lahat ng mga kritiko ni Duterte is already biased. Ibig sabihin, alam na nila that they are against Duterte. Kaya lahat ng mga EJK victims at yung mga sabi niya gawang-gawang storya is against kay Duterte. Parang sinasabi ni Kaufman na, bias sila, ba't pakikinggan mo? And then parang ang question ko doon is, kung susundan natin yung sinasabi ni Kaufman, naman, and ang question ko doon, baka sa pag-i-illegitimate natin na mga totoong complaint, mawala yung essence of victims of EJK. Kasi nagiging, kung galing sa kritiko yung issue, illegitimate or hindi totoo. Parang yun yung,
Another one ang ginamit nila, cherry picking daw.
yes. Correct.
Yun ang ginamit nila na word dyan, cherry picking yung mga victims. Yung pag ano ng mga victims. Okay, cherry picking as it is, kung ano man ang gusto nila. Kahit yun ang sinabi ni Kaufman, kasi hindi tayo makapagsabi, no? Even if nakita na natin kung ano yung mga kung ano mga evidence ng gagawin ng ng prosecutor, tapos ganun pa rin ang finifeed ni Kaufman doon sa judges. So, bias yung mga yan, blah 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 blah, hindi totoo. Okay? But even then, no matter what Kaufman says, ICC, what ano kasi dapat ang ICC kasi is like this, dapat kang mag-stick doon sa issue.
At saka parang, if I'm not mistaken, naiisip ko, alam niyo yung essence ng fear-mongering?
Of course.
Siya parang pinupunto niya, it's only a fear-mongering, pero wala naman talagang totoong nangyari.
Yun ba, hindi mo maintindihan si Kaufman. Mahirap i-defend talaga yung position. This time he will tell you, Rodrigo Duterte is a man of words.
Mhm.
Sabi niya, oh no. And after saying that, meron pa siyang sinasabi after that. you have to watch the whole picture.
Parang lumalagay gumagawa ng lusot, no? Para lang maipasok yung napakasikip na daanan, hahanap talaga siya ng ilulusot niya.
Pero, the statement came from him. Na siya ang nagsasabi.
Correct.
Siya pa ngayon ang nadadapa. So, gagawa na
Mhm.
ng ibang angulo na, ito, kasi mga mga bias yan. Of course, they will always say that. Tapos, ha? Ikaw ang sabi na, di ba?
I think yun nga yung sinabi ko kanina when we were talking earlier before we did this recording, na sabi ko, ang galing niya eh. Ang galing niya paikutin yung naratibo. Pero sa totoo lang, para siyang imbudo eh. Napupunta pa rin sa pinakadulo yung source, which is the former president. Sa kanya nang galing yung speech eh. Wala namang
He's digging his own grave. That's why now, he doesn't know how to defend, and he's lying on yung sa mga 6 lawyers, Filipino lawyers, nakasama nila ngayon dyan sa Hague just to give advice. And this is one thing that I heard a while ago. Isang
Mhm.
lawyer. Who was that lawyer? Delgra yata. Sabi niya, oh yeah, we've been cooperating with Attorney Kaufman from the very day that they kidnapped Rodrigo Duterte going here. So we've been cooperating. And then I was thinking, if they've been cooperating and trying to check on the case, bakit ganito ang statement ni Kaufman? Bakit ganito yung kanyang defense? Bakit ganito yung kanyang the way he presented na ito yung wala naman siyang present na showing na somehow yung kliyente niya is talagang innocent dito sa mangyayari, except na famous siya, pinopoliticize siya, man of word siya, yung man of word siya that catches him to something else. Cherry picking lang, 'di ba? Kaya tuloy,
Mhm.
nasabi ko na they were not prepared. Because maybe they thought that yung kanilang request, ito ano ko lang parang ipupunta ko lang dito sa kanilang interim release. Na they thought
Mhm.
pagbibigyan talaga. Na they were even preparing na yung interim release niya. Something like, if I remember it right, kasi nagba-vlog ako that time and then parang kinonek ko nga na, o kaya siguro akala nila ito marirelease na, something like that. You know? Hindi eh. Sinasabi naman nila, okay, kasi ibang na kulong, something like nakulong yung yung ICC. I was like, hell no. Si Attorney
Mhm.
Carranza, Attorney Carranza, the one that I was listening, he was saying, and ang lawyers nito lawyers ng group ni Kaufman, na there was, I don't know, I just forgot kung anong place yon, na ganyan din, crime against humanity. Hinarap niya. He went to the ICC. Hinarap niya yung case and then they defended him, sila na grupo ni na Kaufman. Alam mo kung ano siya, absuelto sa kaso.
Mhm.
Kaya nga sabi nga niya, he didn't understand why Kaufman didn't advise Rodrigo Duterte nga na, if he's really innocent or, war on drugs is not the war on drugs that's the defense has been propagating, has been dun sa mga slides nila and everything present sa court. Bakit hindi niya pinaharap si Rodrigo Duterte? Ng ni Attorney Carranza eh.
Hmm.
Oo, kasi alam niya na during that time na meron siyang kliyente, the same. Talagang pinapunta dun sa ICC, pinaharap dun sa ICC, pinasagot dun. And true enough, dismiss yung kaso. But this one, hindi. So, anong ibig sabihin nun? There must be something.
Probably meron silang strategy kasi nakikita nila that this will still pursue sa trial and siguro strategy nila ilalabas nila yan sa mismong trial. Pero ang isa din sa angulo nakikita ko diyan, maybe sobrang bigat kasi nung complaint na wala silang choice eh. They really need to push it on trial para doon sila magkaalaman. Yun ang nakikita ko diyan.
And one thing important, timestamp. Pag timestamp yung mga nangyayari, tapos doon sa mga nalilink nila doon sa mga pinagsasabi ni Duterte, tapos na. Sabi nga nila, isa o dalawang witness nga. And then ito pa, pinipilit nila ang prosecutors, mga prosecutors na to name names kung sino yung mga witness. Alam mo ba yon? Oo. Inano nila.
Hindi Tsaka hindi din po puwede yun kasi it's, for privacy. Siyempre biktima sila, hindi naman po puwedeng sabihin nila yun, 'di ba? Mahirap na. And
Sabi
I think sige po.
sabi nung deputy prosecutor na si Mame Mandayan-Yang, sabi niya, this case
Mhm.
is not built on rumor or partisan narratives, but on Duterte's own public statement.
Correct. Kaya matibay po, eh, kasi yun yung parang ito yung isang classical na parang uri ng ebidensya which is a lot of even lawyers, kahit na international lawyers were saying, "This is a classic evidence of an evidence," nakalimutan meron silang word sa law na sinasabing that the evidence can stand by itself. You don't need to say anything. Just give it
Mm.
to the court. Parang gano'n. And I think dito natin makikita kung papaano dedepensahan talaga ni Kaufman kasi mabigat talaga, eh. Mabigat siya. And, I think because we're on the last part ng ating kuwentuhan po dito 'no, Mix, this is your first time, I'll, introduce you sa ating, last part. Ang last part po natin is, one question and, you're just gonna give your full reaction about it and then we will, end this and then I'll give my takeaway for this, podcast. So my last question for you, we'll touch base on the historical and moral aspect of this ICC proceedings.
Mhm.
My question po sa inyo, ito po bang proceeding na 'to as a whole, is this a testament of ICC judging the person as former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte? Or is the ICC as the arbiter nitong issue na to, that are they defining the limits of a strongman leadership on our modern democracy?
Oh, it just says that nobody is above the law, even the president.
And this is not anything to do with personality or the name.
No. It's about the case. Pero
And
kasi,
also, sige po.
pero kasi, no, ito rin naman kasi, just
Mm,
so everybody would know, I know you're also aware, na ang ICC naman talaga, most of the people that were sent there are higher government officials. Walang pinapadalang tao dyan na hindi taas ang posisyon sa government. Kasi hinahandle ng ICC are the highest kind of crimes, which is crime against humanity, genocide, and another one that, Okay.
correct.
Mm. Thank you.
I think for me, ang pinaka takeaway ko dito, it's mostly, ano ba yung pinag-uusapan natin dito? Is it a matter of truth or responsibility? Kasi napakabigat dahil this is, sige po, sige.
Accountability.
Yeah, accountability. And I think ability na yon nakikita natin based on the testimony ni Attorney Kaufman kanina. He is trying to put the moral aspect versus the accountability. Kasi morally daw si Duterte, he cannot stand trial, or sabihin na natin na wala namang direct order to kill. So wala naman moral issue na siya talaga yung nagpapatay or whatsoever. Kung makikita natin doon sa statement, there is a very big disconnect. Why? Kasi there is multiple accounts, multiple people from said years na may issue or complain about kay Pangulong Duterte na talagang merong repeated acts of direct statements to do act upon drug users. Patayin mo to. 'Di ba? Pag nakita mo ng laban, barilin mo. Yung mga ganun tipo, hindi man direct pero nagbibigay siya ng atmosphere to be on that situation.
They showed picture of those so-called drug, may list siya, and then kung sino yung may mga ex. That's very, oh my gosh.
Yeah, yung mga narco list, remember? Marami pang mga mga general. So, I think ang pinaka takeaway ko dito is more of like putting this issue under the bounds of law of people that does not live in our country, didn't even know who Duterte is, or did not even know our local politics. Kasi dito natin makikita yung totoong exercise of rule of law. Kasi wala silang papanigan kung hindi yung ebidensya. And I think this is the best way for us to go forward. Kung mag-iisip tayo in the future sa Pilipinas, magkakaroon tayo ng konkon kung paano tayo pipili ng mga ang mga justices natin sa
That's another
Supreme
story.
Court. Yes, and some iba pang mga justices natin, 'di ba? So dito natin makikita, and hopefully this will serve us, sabihin na natin na parang caution sa susunod na mga presidente, that not everything you say should be said on public space. Dahil hindi ka vlogger, presidente ka ng Pilipinas. So everything you say is said to be true and kailangan gawin. Yun lang. Mamix, I'll send you a link doon po sa live natin. Guys, maraming salamat po, and thank you sa walang sawang support. Magkita-kita po tayo sa susunod na live. Thank you, Mamix. Thank you po sa inyo lahat.
Bye-bye.
Bye.